Hi, folks. It's Jennifer from What If Wellness, and welcome to my weekly Nature Nudges show. I just wanted to talk today a little bit more about paths because it seems like it's obviously a really important thing because we're all on a path, whether we've chosen it or accidentally fallen on it, or we're dragged onto it kicking and screaming. Paths are relevant to all of us, so I just thought I'd go a little deeper into one aspect of them, and that is the uncertainty of them. Even when you choose that you want to go on a certain path, it's still, and even if literally thousands or even hundreds of thousands or even millions of people have gone on that same path before you, it's still not going to be the same for you because you bring you to it. You are a different person, you've had different experiences, you see the world differently than 10 or 20 million other people. You're completely individual. There's nobody else like you. Even when you think you found somebody who's just like you and they're your new best friend, they're still completely different than you. You found a few of the strings that are woven in the same direction, but you have so many other strings that are different than the other person. Your tapestry is completely different. So now imagine that you are stepping onto the same path that millions of other people have done, whether it's a literal path like the Appalachian Trail or one of the many wow, I just forgot the word, where you go on a trail pilgrimage, the pilgrimage paths that, again, millions of people travel or have traveled over many, many lifetimes. So whether it's one of those physical paths or it's an a goal path, so or like with the vaccine, an end goal path. So yesterday I was on three different paths at once, starting three different paths that many other people have taken. I was taking the vaccine for the first time, the COVID vaccine for the first time. And let me just tell you that I'm excited about it, but honestly, I was a little bit nervous about it. And a friend of mine had to remind me all the good stuff about it because I read everything. And so I see just as much of the bad reports as the good reports, but of course the bad reports are more prevalent in the news and even in the reporting because that's what they want to catch. They want to make sure that they get the stuff that's the worrisome stuff so that everybody knows about that. But literally millions of people have taken this and have had excellent results. So the thousands that had negative reactions also brought different things to that experience than I'm bringing, right? Because my tapestry is different than their tapestry. And I don't know all of the little details about the bad experiences or even all of the little details about the good experiences. So I chose to infuse my path, especially the vaccine one yesterday, with hope and with trust. And I asked my body and I tapped into my body and I even prayed into my body, asked the beings that support me to, and I honestly, when I say that, I honestly don't know what I'm talking about. I don't have like a set definition of what an angel is or what the fairies are or elementals or any of that stuff. I know that there is something around me that supports me. There's a energy that cheers me on and gives me a hand any time I ask. So before I went for my vaccine, I tapped and asked my body to accept it in a healthy and loving way, and that maybe even something magical could happen, like it would support me in ways that I didn't know. Maybe it would fix my thyroid instead of make it worse. Or maybe it would help open up the opportunity for inner ear nerves to start growing, which would be truly a miracle, because I haven't had inner ear nerves since 1989, when I was in Liberia. So there are certain things that I added just for fun, just as a possibility, because there are no limits. I can ask for whatever I want. And I asked my body to find ways that it knows would bring me more joy, because my body knows what brings me joy. Um, and add to that when I got the vaccine. And I was nervous about it just because there's so much nervousness in the world, and also I was excited about it because of knowing completely that I have the power in me to help that vaccine become what I want it to be for me and for the people around me and for the people that I love and the unknown people around me that I love just because they're humans, but not that I know personally. So there's a lot that went into my choice, and then also into how I went through the process of starting that new path. But still, even with all the things that I do, life is uncertain, right? So who knows what the next piece of it will feel like, or what it'll feel like in 3 weeks when I get the second shot. There's a lot of uncertainty on that path, and instead of focusing on the part that I don't know, I try really hard, in most cases in my life, to focus on, one, the things that I see that are working. And one of the things on the vaccine path yesterday that I saw that was working was uh, when I walked into the hospital, and again, I was nervous about going to this hospital because this is the one where my mom went for radiation treatments, and I have some. They were wonderful. The humans that work there were wonderful, but the outcome for my mom was not ideal. So, uh, and it's not because of what they did, it's because her path was resistant. It was uncertain, and it was time for her, whether we knew it or not, and all the work that we did to delay it. But anyway, I don't have the best, happiest memories of that hospital, and I don't go there very often. It's in a town about 30 minutes away. So this was probably, yeah, it was the first time I've been in it since my mom passed. So I was hesitant just to go to that hospital. And as soon as I walked in, I, of course, also have my hearing difficulties. So everybody's in masks, and COVID's really hard for people who read lips. And it's been a long year. And then about something that's, you know, you're in a hospital, you want to know exactly what they're telling you about where to go and things like that, and I never do. Because I can't hear them. And oftentimes there's no piece of paper to write it on, and anyway, it's a little challenging. So I was nervous for that reason too, going into any situation where I know that I need to understand what they're saying and I can't, or I know I won't be able to, or I'm pretty sure I won't be able to. That adds another layer of nervousness on my own personal path. Most people don't have that issue. So I walk in, and I see the sign that tells me which one to go to, and I go to the right booth, and she starts talking behind her mask, and instead of doing what I used to do, which is just nodding and smiling and catching as much of it as I can, I took control of my path, right? I said, I'm hearing impaired and I read lips, so this is really challenging. Is there any way that we can do this with less of that? And she ended up giving me the checklist that she needed to go through with me, and I read it and gave her answer, and read it and gave her the answer, so we had all of the answers easily that way. So one thing that you can do to take uncertainty out of your path, or to remove fear from your path, is think of new solutions of how you can handle something differently than you've done in the past. So that's one thing that I did. And then as I went in, there were just all of these people, and the overall feeling in the experience was one of hope. It just felt so hopeful, and there was just so much emotion, and nobody was really talking to anybody. It was just what I felt. And it was really powerful and really beautiful. So I decided to focus on that. And that was really nice. And then I ran into some people that I knew, which was also really nice. I couldn't chat with them because of the mask issue, but and no real way of dealing with that while we were in a crowded situation. So I texted them and said hello that way and explained that I wasn't chatting because I wouldn't be able to understand what they were saying. So anyway, it was still nice to see them and have that connection. So who knows who you're going to meet on your path? You might meet new friendly people that help you or that support you or even just make you feel connected to the process a little differently. So the other path that I started yesterday was a literal path. I wanted to go and get some exercise after the vaccine because I was told that helps it flow through your body better instead of getting stuck in your arm or whatever. So I thought that's a good idea, and as you all know, I love nature. And I just followed my gut and went south, and I thought I was going to go to a place that I've been before, but when I stopped to get gas and a little bit of food, I went in and, again, couldn't understand what the clerk said when I asked for a local hiking spot. But this clerk was amazing, and he took out his laptop and and used, I was going to say MapQuest, but now that I was thinking about it, it was probably Google Maps, and actually made a map for me and then printed it on the little printer there in the shop and gave it to me to show me how to get to the trailhead of a new place I'd never hiked before. And so I was thrilled, So something that I was uncertain about what my path would be. I just knew that I wanted to have a nice afternoon of hiking, and I just kept focusing on that goal of feeling peaceful and relaxed and excited to be in the woods and just trusting that I would end up in the right place at the right time. And indeed, I followed the little map and ended up at a beautiful trailhead and started the hike. But I didn't have any idea how long the hike was or what it was leading to or if it was going to be a loop or out and back. And I had all of that uncertainty again. But because I knew where my car was, I knew how far I was going in. I just could turn around whenever I knew I was halfway from being tired or halfway from needing water because I didn't carry it with me. I drank a bunch before I left. So I didn't know what was in front of me, but I'm an experienced enough hiker to know what I can handle. So, and I knew that I could always find my way back to the car. I wasn't worried about that. And it turned out to be a really lovely hike and had some wonderful surprises along the way. And I made a live video on Facebook about it on my personal page that I'm going to share to my business page. So if you want to see the video from yesterday, I'll have it posted on What If Wellness on Facebook soon. But anyway, it turned out to be a real gem of a hike. And I just kept focusing on what I wanted. And when I noticed parts of it that were giving me what I wanted, like I noticed how quiet it was and how beautiful it was. And it just was I just celebrated every little bit, So it was far enough from roads that I couldn't hear any of the cars, and that was something I celebrated. And there were some really nice Adirondack chairs to sit and meditate in, and I celebrated that and just sent my gratitude out to the forest. And I just allowed myself to really be in this experience of this new path. And instead of wondering, okay, now when I start hiking again after I get up out of this chair, where am I going to go? How far is it going to be? What's going to happen? I didn't worry about any of that. I just decided that I wanted to have a certain experience, and I just kept focusing on that experience that I wanted to have. And if I wasn't finding it, I would have left. I had that choice too. I had that free will, right? but I didn't have to. I kept finding more of what I wanted, and it actually just got better and better through the whole hike. And I didn't know that that was, possible, but everything's possible. So anyway, I just wanted to share that as a thing to remember, that uncertainty can be a wonderful thing. You can not know what's going to happen next, but go into it with what you really want to feel, and just keep looking for ways to feel what you really want to feel, and then being grateful every time one little thing shows up. Like, especially that clerk who gave me this new hiking place, I'm going to send a thank you letter to him and his boss saying what, an amazing thing he did for me, because that was well above and beyond his job. His job was to ring me out, and he went the extra 15 miles so that I could go on my however many mile hike it was. I have no idea. And it turned out to be a lovely loop. And if you're in this area, the Finger Lakes area, it was Onanda Park, the Upland Trail, and it's a beautiful loop with some gorgeous views, including a lovely waterfall. I did do a couple reels of the trail, so you can go back to my 2 last posts and see the 2 reels that I did of it. And just go and enjoy if you're in this area. It's a lovely trail. And that's all I wanted to share today. So thank you for listening, and I hope that you step onto a new path and that you focus on what you really want that new path to bring you. Maybe not the actual, you don't know how long it's going to be or what the curveballs will be, but just keep focusing on how you want to feel on that path. And also keep asking yourself, what can I do to help make that happen? Who can I ask? How can I get help? What can I bring to this situation to help me get more of the experience that I most want? That's it. I hope you're all having a good afternoon. And again, if you're in this area, that you get outside today, because it is gorgeous out. It's like 70 something and sunny in the Finger Lakes. And tomorrow we get high winds and cold again. So go out and enjoy. Take care. Love you. Bye-bye.